Hello, and welcome to the Bled podcast Birth, Love, Experience, and Death. I'm your host, Stephanie Bushak,
And I'm your co-host, Matt Bushak.
and this is our second podcast. Yay!
Yay!
Don't worry, guys, we won't do this every time.
Yeah, we'll get some fancy electronic sound noisemaker thing to go.
Yeah,
Yay! For
yeah,
us.
we're on a budget right now.
You don't buy everything on your second podcast.
No,
You don't go with the $25,000 setup right
no,
away.
no. That's for when you get
Big
millions
it
of
big.
fans. Yes. So today's subject is going to be about pregnancy
Yeah.
and the birth of our twins.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. I remember that.
Good. Thank God.
Yep. Yeah. I was there.
I don't have to carry this whole podcast
Yeah, I
by
know.
myself.
I'm like, well, I'm out of here. I didn't do none of that shit.
So you and I had been married uh probably 8 years when we decided, hey, we better go ahead and do this kid thing or it might not ever happen.
That's not exactly how. No, we decided to wait till we were out of college
Yes.
and had a house. Yeah, I think it was about. See, we got married in '91. Yeah, it was about '98 when we got pregnant. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, we decided to wait till like we had a house, but I didn't have a job. You remember? I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't have a job at the
Oh,
time
well,
because I'd quit.
well, I thought you quit after I got pregnant.
No,
No.
I actually had to go to work at Pizza Hut after you got pregnant
Oh,
again.
shit.
Remember? As a shift
Yeah.
leader.
Boy, we aren't very good decision makers, are
No,
we?
no, we're like, let's see. We just got a house payment and I don't have a job. Let's have babies.
And we didn't know they were babies. We thought baby.
Yeah, we thought we were gonna have a baby.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Ballin'.
we decided, I decided let's fast track this.
Yeah, Stephanie was driving this mostly.
Yes. And so I got a couple of, I was kind of scared, honestly, that I might not be able to get pregnant because I mean, I'd used pretty regular birth control in the past, but we didn't really have any pregnancy scares or anything.
We had like
I think
one,
one,
maybe
yeah,
two, kind of slight.
yeah, but
yeah.
it wasn't, obviously, I wasn't pregnant. And
Obviously,
and I was afraid that I might not be able to get pregnant
she thought she would be infertile.
because every person I know that I'm related to has gotten pregnant accidentally. And some of them have been like on birth control. And I'm like, well, shit, I've been married to the same guy for 8 years now and I haven't gotten pregnant, and I mean, I don't know. I guess I just thought birth control doesn't work that great for most people. And
I think that your family may have told you they were on birth control, but I don't think they're really on birth control.
that could be. That could be.
It only works if you use it. And they didn't know that. They're like,
Yeah.
I'm on birth control. I got this little packet I get every month. I don't know what to do with it.
You want a Tic Tac?
I feed it to the cats. No, they're not having babies.
Yeah. So I decided to fast track it by reading a bunch of books on
Oh, yeah.
fertility.
She read so many books. Like she knew everything there was
Yeah.
about fertility.
I did the whole legs in the air after you do it trick
Hmm
and laying down.
It was like clinical. It was like,
Yeah.
hey Matt, it's time to come do it. Like, don't I get some music or something? Some brown chicken, brown cow. No, this was just regular chicken, a regular cow.
Nothing together,
There was
dude.
no color in it at all. Regular old chicken and regular old cow.
Yep.
And so, can I tell a story about the trip?
Yes.
Okay. Around New Year's of 1999, we had driven to Utah from Washington with my family.
It wasn't New Year's of 1999. It had to have been New Year's of 1998.
Well, New Year of 1999 would be January 1st of 1999.
Oh, I gotcha. I
Yes.
thought you said New Year's,
It was
like the
New
day
Year's.
of.
That would be New Year's Eve.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. My bad.
That happens. I do that sometimes too. But yes, just to avoid confusion, it was the 1988 to 1999 jump over. But anyways, and so we were driving. We had two cars. We were driving in our Dodge Neon behind my mom and her Caravan. And
Our first teeny tiny little brand new car.
yeah, it was
The only time actually we've ever had a brand new car.
it was brand new off the lot. She wanted this damn purple Neon. Like, really?
Yeah.
Purple? Like, I'm buying you a car, brand new.
You gave me a choice.
I did.
That's your fault.
That was my first. Yep. That's right. That's on me.
That is.
Suck it, Matt. So, anyways, so we're driving this car, and they had put some gravel on the road on the highway, a couple days before because it snowed. Well, the snow all melted and the gravel was still on the highway. So Stephanie's pulling around this corner trying to keep up with my mom, and she spins out the car. And
Yeah, okay. Just preemptively, so everyone knows, it's like the only car accident I've ever been in that I've caused.
yes, this is true.
Yeah,
Stephanie's a shining clean driving record.
I do. I don't have any
Nope.
I don't have
This
any
is gonna be
tickets.
this is gonna be the only story that you hear about Stephanie doing something bad in the car. Well,
Yeah.
while driving. So, anyways, so she hits the guardrail. So that's the point. I'm pretty sure that something physiologically happened and 2 eggs came out.
I knocked 2 out.
Yeah, she knocked 2 out of there whenever she hit that guardrail. So that evening, or that so we get to my aunt's house, and I'm not allowed to get in the hot tub. Everybody knows that we're trying to get pregnant.
Yeah,
Stephanie let,
I announced it to everyone.
and of course everybody's excited. All my aunts are excited, and so I can't get in the hot tub because they don't want my little
It-
spermies boiling.
Yeah, can't get the sperms too warm or they won't survive.
Yep. So even though I've got some really strong,
Apparently, but
Sperms.
we didn't know for sure at the
well,
time.
that's at least I had 2 strong ones.
At least 2.
The 2 strongest ones made it. And so, anyways, yeah, I couldn't get in the hot tub. I couldn't drink wine. She was ovulating at the time during this whole for like 4-day trip.
Yeah.
So every
How
night,
convenient.
so every night we had to go do it. So on our way back,
You make that sound so horrible. So every night we got to go do it.
she's like, "Get over here, I'm ovulating."
I'll tell you what, when you're trying to have a baby, it's not nearly as romantic as when you're not trying
No,
to have
it's
a baby.
like I didn't know that there, like, before this. If you would have said there's a way that you can have sex that's not fun, I would have been like, "Yeah, sure, whatever, you dumbass." Now I know it's true. Somehow you can still get erect to do it. It's fun enough, I suppose.
It's fun enough. It barely meets the fun requirement.
But so on our way back, and this is kind of an interesting story, but on our way back we stopped at Jackpot, Nevada, and so my brother Chris was staying in the room with us while my other 2 siblings and my mom and
Yes,
stepdad
his
were.
much younger brother.
Yes, Chris. So Chris was
I want to say it was probably like
he's
13
84, so
or
this is 14.
14, yeah.
So Chris is 14 years old, and so mom's like, "Hey, Chris, come to come hang out with us in our room for a little while or something. Come." And Chris is like, "No, I'm just gonna hang out with Matt and Steph in their room." And so my mom had to go up my brother Chris, and she whispered something, and then he kind of got this look like, "Oh," and then so you talk about pressure at this
Yeah,
point.
right.
I mean,
Basically, mom whispered to Chris, "Hey, they're trying to make a baby. Get the fuck out of their room."
exactly. And so now there's this pressure. So now here I am having to have sex. Plus, people outside are waiting on me or depending on me or something.
Yes.
So here's the
He's got a whole team outside the door
cheering me on.
rooting for you.
Come on,
Go, Matt, go.
What made it even harder, if you can imagine. More difficult. But no,
Watch your
yeah, no, it's like that's what I said. It made it harder. No, it made it more difficult.
It was difficult.
It was not more harder. It was less harder. No. So interesting thing. So when Stephanie was doing all this reading, I love to tell this story. When Stephanie was doing all this reading about
I love to read.
about ovulating and what like your juices are and whatnot
Yes.
happen
The viscosity of your bodily fluids,
of your vaginal discharge.
of your vaginal fluids.
So one of the things that is what she okay, one of the things that she
Getting all
read
flustered. Ugh.
one of the things that she read in her books was that you can use egg whites as a lubricant
For mobility.
because it's
The same consistency.
right, because regular lubricants can kill your spermies too,
Yes.
and so this actually is a lubricant and it feeds your spermies.
Yes. It is a bio sperm helper.
Biodegradable, organic. It's
Organic, yes,
It's organic.
yes.
And so we had to stop at the gas station and get some eggs. And my mom's like, "Why are y'all getting eggs?"
We're like, don't worry about it,
Yeah,
Mom.
we're on a protein diet. We like to do the whole Rocky thing, just
Yeah,
eating raw.
raw eggs, right?
And so yeah, so it's interesting because when we did like the genetic testing, like Sunny is 50-50 split,
We did
but
23 and me
but
several ago.
Ryan's like 50% mom and like 49.5% dad. So like that
So
other half percent is some lucky chicken out
we
there
think he's he's 0.5% chicken because
because of the chicken egg, and he loves the chicken dance too.
oh
It's
yeah,
one
it's
of his
favorite.
favorites.
You'll even hear him in bed sometimes before he goes to sleep. He'll go, no, it's in his genes.
It is. So and it happened to be that night also two other interesting things happened. The Texas A&M Aggies won the first uh, Big Ten championship game. I think that was when the Southwest Conference disbanded. Uh, uh, won the first championship for that conference,
Okay,
and they beat Kansas in overtime.
okay.
And Sir Parker made an excellent diving touchdown. I don't know why I remember all these things. And
I
also,
don't either.
I remember that we were at the bar, and I was able to drink at this point, I guess, because she had finished ovulating and I'd done my duty for the night.
Here, babe, have a
So,
reward.
so in Vegas, they'll give you drinks for free as long as you're playing. And so we're at the bar and we're playing 1/4 at a time video poker.
Yes,
And
we were running out of
yes,
money.
and I wanted to keep drinking and watching the game. And so Stephanie hit a royal flush with
Yes,
1/4 won
1/4.
$65.
Yes, and then immediately went. Oh, I wish I would have put more money in there.
No, if we put 5 quarters in, we would won like 15,000 or something.
Yeah,
But
something
whatever. Who
crazy.
cares?
Yeah,
No regrets.
no regrets. I don't fucking regret the fact that I didn't fucking cuss.
I know. So like that should have been one where we cussed, huh?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Maybe we did. I don't know.
Yeah, we may
I didn't
have.
feel as empowered to cuss in public as I do nowadays.
Yeah,
Because nowadays I just don't
yeah.
give a shit.
We even had a conversation with our pastor at one point about cussing, but we'll talk about that
Yeah,
time.
yeah. So now Stephanie's ovulated and she's been impregnated by this point.
Yes. And my pregnancy, like I knew within probably about 2 weeks of being pregnant that I was pregnant.
Yeah, yeah. It hit hard.
It
I
did.
remember.
I couldn't. I was lucky. I didn't get any kind of morning sickness, which is usually a big factor for a lot of women discovering that they might be pregnant. But my stomach felt kind of hard.
And you were tired.
And
I
I
remember
was
you get
tired.
tired
Yeah.
so easily.
And at the time, I worked in produce at a grocery
At
store.
Safeway, because yes, we were trying to get pregnant, but we didn't have jobs. Remember?
Yeah, right. Well, I had a job, but I wasn't going to be able to keep it for very long.
Yeah. And one thing to kind of go back is, my mom, love you, mom, was all into this. She did her kids kind of natural childbirth, the last 3, like at home. And so we were gonna kind of try to do the same thing or do it with a midwife, and have a uh, not so much a hospital environment. And so that's kind of where we were going towards in this birthing
Yeah, we were
adventure.
trying to be as natural with it as we could. So, anyways, I took a pregnancy test when I was probably just a couple of weeks pregnant, and I didn't know at the time that I was pregnant with twins. So it popped positive really early on, which isn't always the case when you're having a single birth, but I popped positive. So I went to the doctor and they tested
She
me.
was positive for babies.
I was positive for
And the
babies.
doctor's like, "How long you been taking babies for? Is this a problem? Do you feel like you could quit?"
Do you need to go to baby rehab? Oh, I wish somebody would have asked me
I
that
know.
back then.
Yes.
Yes, I
Oh
do.
God,
I'm so
yeah.
sorry. I'll never do it again.
Oh Lordy. Well,
Right.
sweet
Yeah.
jalapenos.
So we went to see a midwife, and I saw the midwife up until I was about
20
4.
weeks
How many?
is when you got your ultrasound. That's when we stopped seeing
Yeah,
them.
but what I was about 20 weeks.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because when you're seeing a midwife, you don't get a
Yeah, you don't get an ultrasound every month or 2
yeah.
months like you do when you're seeing a regular obstetrician. So, anyways, yeah, I went to the ultrasound with Matt, and
So it was funny because we used to go to the midwife and she'd like have trouble finding like mom's heartbeat and the baby's heartbeat separate. Like, wait, there's mom's. Wait, no, it's over. No, well, there's mom's. This was before we knew
yeah,
about the dose
yeah. So the heartbeat was kind of jumpy. They had a hard time narrowing down
because there was
whose
actually three babies.
heartbeat was whose. And so anyways, yeah, up until that point, the midwife said, "Yeah, you're a little big, maybe you're a little bit further along than you think you are." And we went to do the ultrasound, and at the time, we were very much adamant up until that point that we didn't want to know the sex of the baby.
No, no, no gender reveal.
No, we weren't into that gender reveal bullshit.
Well,
And
that was
so,
before they had those
well,
gender reveal bullshits
exactly,
anyways.
but
But
to me, it's still, yeah.
yeah,
But we didn't care if we
tell
had
us how you feel.
I will. Um, at the time, we didn't care if we had a boy or a girl.
Because we were gonna name him or her DeBrickshaw.
Oh, shut
Either
up.
way, that's named after DeBrickshaw Ferguson, offensive lineman for some NFL team.
Okay. So, anyways,
We didn't care. We didn't care if it's gonna be a boy or girl.
we did not care. So we were asking the obstetrician, or not the obstetrician,
The
but
technician.
the ultrasound technician, if they could just write down the sex of the baby and put it in an envelope, and we give it to Matt's mom because Matt's mom really wanted to know what the sex of the baby was going to be. So we got our little envelope, but before that, they rested on a spot on my belly that had two circles,
Yeah,
and the technician said, "Can you hold on for just a minute? I need to go get a consultation." And we were like, "Yeah." And we're looking at the screen, and we don't know if like there's something wrong with the baby, but we're both kind of seeing these two circles on the screen, and we're like, "Is that two heads? Does that look like two heads to you?"
yeah. That's what it was.
Yep. So she came back with the doctor, and the doctor said, "Congratulations, you're having twins."
And so at that point, we went ahead and asked what the gender.
No, we didn't ask at the doctor's office. We still had the envelope where they
Oh,
wrote it
okay.
down,
Okay.
and we gave it to your mom. And then by the end of that day, we couldn't wait any longer. So we
Okay.
went up to your mom's work, and all of her coworkers were there. And
Yeah.
we told her before we got there, we're like, "I think we want to know the sexes of the babies just because there's two of them. There's twice as much planning that we need to do for everything." And so we went up there, and she told us, "You're having a boy and a girl."
Yay!
Yay! So I actually got, um, uh, oh, what's it called when you get all swollen up, your blood pressure goes up?
Um.
Preeclampsia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got preeclampsia.
So the whole pregnancy thing was pretty interesting because it was August. The kids were born in August. I know I'm fast forwarding here, but Stephanie was miserable being pregnant because it's the summer in Washington, and in Washington you don't have air conditioning in the house because you don't need it except for maybe 3 weeks of the year, which happened to be the 3 weeks that Stephanie was bedridden,
Yes.
and she was on a steady diet of Tums and water, and
And I stood in front of the refrigerator a lot
I
with it open, of course.
and I and I came up with this. I would put a big old bowl of ice in front of a fan and
Oh,
blow it on
yeah.
her. And man, I was trying everything. I was gonna run to the hardware store. I was like, can I set up a window unit just in the living room? Like on a chair or something. Yeah, she was miserable.
It
Poor
was
thing.
it was hard because I had preeclampsia, so I was like really super, super swollen. The doctor put me on bed rest when I was 6 months, or
Yeah, I mean it
it
wasn't
was
long
it wasn't that long after.
after we found out they were twins.
Yeah,
Even.
so
Yeah.
somewhere between 5 and 6 months, they diagnosed me with preeclampsia and put me on bed rest. And I was kind of miserable because of that. But I was also super excited because
Oh
I
yeah.
had wanted babies since I was a little girl. And
We went to birthing classes together. That was kind of
yes,
fun. We were
yes,
all excited. We were having twins and
yeah.
uh My mom and her coworkers threw us a baby shower,
Yeah, we had a co-ed baby shower.
which was kind of weird.
We were so ahead of our time.
Yeah,
No gender reveals. We had a co-ed baby shower.
yes.
Yes.
And so we found out we were having twins, and we had names kind of picked out for what if it's gonna be a boy, this would be the name, and if it was me a girl, this would be the name.
Yeah, and we had backup boy names and backup girl names.
And so Sunny was assigned female at birth, so that's why we talked about me and
Yes,
her
yes.
in our
And
story.
yeah, she was assigned, or he was assigned female at birth. It's hard not to think back to when Sonny was a baby.
So we're gonna misgender him, and it's gonna be easier anyways because, well, I don't know. Anyways, this is gonna y'all will have to figure this out. Just make get a little spreadsheet next to the
Yeah.
podcast here, and
Hey, if you think it's complicated for you, we had to live this.
yeah, no shit. Yeah, trust me, there's some math involved. We're just not quite sure what it is.
No.
But
So the kids were born about a month and a half early.
yeah,
Yeah, they were
so
5
it's
weeks
like
early.
it's like yeah, they were 5 weeks because the doctor said you have to be on bed rest, you can't do anything,
Yes.
don't even sneeze or nothing.
Yeah.
And then
then
as soon as 25 weeks hit, or 35 weeks.
Yeah, 35 weeks, they induced me.
Yeah, they're like, we gotta get him out.
Yeah. My labor sucked. It was 11 hours.
Yeah, it was bad.
And they did a Pitocin drip. And because of that, I literally was having one contraction on top of another, like every 5 minutes.
Yeah, I remember she was like, she was kind of laying in the bed or kind of sitting where her feet were off the bed, sitting sideways, and I had her hands because that was the most comfortable when she would have a contraction. I almost said orgasm.
I wish. I'd be having babies left and right.
That was a funny one.
Yeah.
But every time she had a contraction, her eyes would roll back in her head, or she would wake up, or she would just like, in this, and then
like
and then
wide awake.
and then as it wore off, the contraction wore off, she would
I would
literally
literally fall asleep.
and then she'd be woken up maybe 10 or 30 seconds
I
later by
was
another contraction.
so exhausted.
Oh my God, yeah, it was killing her.
Because when they did the drip, it immediately started. Seriously, every 5 minutes for 11 hours, I was having contractions.
They finally put you on, gave you a
Yes.
epidural,
Yeah.
and you slept really good.
Yes, I did. I actually went on natural for about 5 hours, and about the 5th hour in, I was like, okay, I changed my mind. I want an epidural.
Yeah.
And I remember
it
we
was
had
bad.
Nurse Ratchet, and she was so pissed off. She's like, I told you you should get an epidural. And I'm like, okay, thank you, boss lady. Just
Yep, you want
right.
garçon.
It did help a lot. I slept real
Yeah,
good after that.
Oh, you did. There's one funny part though, early on when she was really early in her contraction. So she wasn't allowed to eat anything when she got in the hospital. So we had breakfast at Denny's, and we said the kids are going to be born, so Stephanie should get free breakfast because you get free breakfast on your birthday at Denny's. And they did. They actually gave her
They
free
gave me a
breakfast.
free breakfast that morning.
And so, but it was all the next day. Well, all that day. So we went early in the morning, and all that day she wasn't allowed to eat anything. All that
Yeah.
night, and then we're into the next day, and she still hasn't been able to eat anything. And they're going to start going into labor. Start this drip. And so there was one point where she was. I had a bagel, and so like I'm like, okay.
Was I like, get the fuck out of my
Oh
room?
no, you're like, I need some of that. So like I was gonna get, so I literally right when I went to put it in your mouth and you can take a bite, Nurse Ratchet walks in,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh shit, like she wanted one bite of food. She's gonna die.
Kind of a shitty memory. And birth is so traumatic.
Is this not making it feel better? Now you're like, oh shit.
No,
this
I'm
was-
just thinking of like all the things I block out
I
that
know,
you have
yeah.
to remind me of because it was so like overwhelming.
Traumatic?
Yeah, it was very traumatic.
Maybe we should stop this podcast. Maybe these things need to be blocked
Deep
out.
breath. Deep breath.
No, yeah, deep breath. Now push.
No, no.
So
You're making a U-turn. Don't do that.
finally they got to the point where her cervix was dilated, and they're like, okay, let's go get these puppies
Yes.
out of here. Well, Sunny came out, just squirted right out, like
It squirted right out.
they had
Tube of toothpaste just squirted right out.
sweet jalapenos. So they had to cut Ryan's cord to get Sunny out. Now, Sonny was head down, normal, like, hey,
Yeah,
let's
head
do this.
first. Yep.
Ryan was breech, and we knew this. Everybody knew this. Doctor knew this.
Yes.
But for some reason, the doctor didn't say you need to have a C-section. You're okay doing this.
Yeah. I pushed for natural birth, and I really wish the doctors would have pushed harder for nobody ever asked me if I wanted a C-section. In retrospect, if I could go back and do it again, I would have had a C-section.
I would have had no babies. I would have never had sex with you.
Ever been celibate for the rest of my
I got
life.
your birth control.
I've asked myself before, would I go back and do it all over again, knowing what I know?
Yeah.
And I would. I'm a fool that way.
You're fucking crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
So,
So then so then we take, yeah, Sonny
Sunny
squirts
came
right out.
out. Yeah.
And so Ryan, they had a lot more difficulty
Yes.
with. His arm got hung up on the
Yes.
pelvis.
They thought they were going to have to break his shoulder to get him out of the birth canal. He was stuck in the birth canal for a long time.
Like 15 minutes.
At that point, I was already exhausted. I was beyond exhausted when they're like, "Here, push."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I already did a bunch of pushing. Leave me alone. I want to go to sleep now."
And I saw the doctor's hands shaking, like
Yes.
like holding Ryan's legs,
Yeah.
outside. Like that's all you could see was
And
his
she
legs,
retired
but
like 2 months
yeah,
after.
not long after.
Yeah. And I
And
don't know that that was in her plans, but she admitted that it was a difficult birth.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
traumatic for everybody. So finally, so they did get Ryan out.
Obviously,
And
he's not still stuck in there.
whew, thank goodness. So, yeah, okay. I guess you already know that part of the story. Yeah, Ryan came out. They had to resuscitate him there in the birthing room, and I didn't know this because everything's just chaotic. I'm looking at Stephanie. She's like, looks like she's about to die, getting this thing out of her.
Yeah.
So they get the babies wrapped up, and Stephanie and I had agreed beforehand, if we need to get separated, I would go with the babies.
Yes.
And so me and my mom took Sonny and Ryan to the NICU.
Yes. They went to the NICU, and while they were in the NICU, I started bleeding out, and they could not get my placenta to come out. And so they kept doing like external massaging, and they still couldn't get it out. So the doctor put one hand inside of my vagina and started scooping around to try to get the placenta out, and she couldn't. So then she put her other hand, now she's got 2 hands in there, and
How many hands?
2. I didn't know that was possible, but a baby just came out, so I guess anything's possible.
And then she took her shoe off.
God, no. And at this point, I started going into shock. I was literally dying on the table. And I passed out, and they were still doing their job trying to get the placenta out. And apparently, they gave me some sort of shot that helped kind of wake me up a little bit. And then,
Yeah, she told me that they kept telling her, stay awake, stay
yeah,
awake.
they kept telling me to stay awake because I kept passing out. And yeah, when everything was said and done, first thing I do when they wheel me into another room is I throw up.
That's about the time that I kind of wandered back. I'm like, where's Steph?
Yeah.
I think my sister, actually, Jen, came to come get me, and she said that you were screaming in there.
Yeah.
They could hear you scream all the way
Yeah.
in the hallway.
Yeah. My body was done with it. So done.
So and she's still here.
Yeah.
Yeah, her body's like, fuck you, and her mind's like, no, we're still here.
Yeah.
Or maybe
Yeah.
vice versa. But
So I had to have, okay, first of all, Ryan had really low APGARs when he was born.
that's why they had to resuscitate him.
Yes, they had to resuscitate him because he was blue and he wasn't breathing. And his APGARs were like 2 and 4, something really low like that. And they had to give me 2 blood transfusions right afterwards.
Yeah, and so that night I remember I was sleeping in Stephanie's room, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she wakes up with this just scream, like just screaming
The
pain.
bloody
Like, what
murder
the
scream.
hell? And apparently, what happens as your uteri and
Yeah.
things go back into
Well,
place,
everything goes
uh,
back into place.
it
Plus,
hit it hit it can hit your sciatic nerve, and it
yeah,
hit her nerve like right there.
yeah. Apparently, all the compression on the nerve when it was released after having the babies, at one point the sciatic nerve started awakening again, and it did not feel good at all.
Yeah, they ran in here and they gave her a couple, put some shots into her IV stuff, and then she
Yeah,
went right back to sleep.
yeah,
But boy, oh boy, that
yeah.
was a stark awakening.
Yes.
And then I was able to go see the babies in the NICU
And
the next day.
Sunny weighed about 4.8 pounds, and Ryan weighed 4.12 pounds.
You mean 4 pounds 12 ounces?
Yeah, 4 pounds 12.
4.12.
I told you it was traumatic. I don't remember everything.
Is that in kilonewtons or metric tons?
Metric tons. It
Gigawatts?
felt like metric tons. Yes. Sunny was 4 pounds 8 ounces. Ryan was 4 pounds 12 ounces.
Yes.
They were tiny. We made jokes because I have really well, they're still kind of big, but my boobs were really big.
Oh yeah, yeah.
When I was nursing. I think I was like a 34
I don't know.
J or I mean,
It
it was
it
ridiculous.
was like we had to start using like other alphabets, like the Chinese alphabet and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
because we had gone through the Z.
Yep, yes. I got lucky because they actually had uh, a maternity shop at the hospital that had nursing bras,
That's right. I remember
and
that.
they actually had my size.
And I thought they were just for the nurses.
Right, right. I got lucky. So,
The people at the hospital were awesome.
the kids were in the NICU for
12 days.
12 days. Sonny would probably have been okay going home after about like a week,
Yeah, yeah.
but they went ahead and kept him so that he could keep Ryan company because they like putting the babies in the incubator together every once in a while.
And Ryan got jaundice, and so you'd walk in and he'd have that little yellow light shining on him,
Yes,
shining on his white hiney.
yes,
But he came through that okay.
yes. And so, yeah, they were premature, but otherwise they were in pretty good health. And we took them home and traded in that Dodge Neon for
Ford Astrovan extended.
God.
We'll talk more about that in our next in our
Right?
upcoming episodes.
Right?
And
And if
yeah,
you're not traumatized by all this, then
you're listening to the wrong podcast.
that's awesome. Good for you.
But
Hey, Matt, guess what?
what's that, Steph?
Life will kill you. See you later, kids.